Sean Taylor, University of Miami, the hardest hitter in the draft.
Pick up the ball after the fumble, you saw it. What are you thinking?
I always think score once I got the ball in my hands, and I made one move and I seen daylight and I just ran.
And with the way this game was going, I mean, it turns out to be the nail, the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it was a nail in the coffin. I was just happy to be able to put us up by 10 and just still 11 and still the deal, man. That's all we could have been happy for. To put it away. This Eagle team, they were scrappy. We knew they were going to come out and fight and try to spoil our show, but we were determined not to let them spoil our party.
Sean, go back to 5 and 6. Did this team believe?
I ain't going back to 5 and 6. We're 10 and 6. So I don't want to hear no more 5 and 6 talk.
Sean, what's this mean to you, though? I mean, in general.
What does this mean to the whole team? We happy, man. We happy.
Is there a swagger that comes with playing at the University of Miami?
I think so. I think you become you have an attitude that you definitely brings out that dog in you, I would say. You don't want to be a part of a tradition that has so much that come out of it and then just be a guy that just attended there. You want to be special too.
As a junior, Clinton helped lead Miami to the national championship in 2001. Also on that team was a freshman safety named Sean Taylor. When Portis saw Taylor's high school film, Clinton thought he was watching his successor at running back.
And you see a guy just running downfield, jumping over people, spin move, running through people. I'm like, man, who is this running back? They was like, nah, he playing safety. I'm like, he what? They was like, nah, he gonna play safety. I was like, yes, I'm glad he ain't coming over here.
But Portis did want Taylor to join him in Washington last year and made no secret about it during the 2004 draft.
Every time I go to have a discussion about football players or something, all he kind of do is go, Sean Taylor.
If you were an opposing team, what would you fear the most? Santana blowing by a defender, CP making one of those sick cutbacks and he's gone, or a wide receiver over the middle?
Wide receiver over the middle. I'm like, he a man amongst boys out there. I played against safeties that been in the league forever that don't play to the tempo he plays at and don't hit you the way he hits you, I'm just happy to be on your team, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be on your team too, man. It's a speedy guy.
Sean Taylor, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Who's your favorite pro athlete?
Ryan Clark.
Where did you grow up?
Miami, Florida.
What is the biggest challenge facing kids today?
Peer pressure.
In one word, how would you describe Coach Joe Gibbs?
Exciting.
Who was your role model growing up?
Never really had any. I had a lot of guys I looked up to, but, not like a role model type.
What is your favorite all-time movie?
Set It Off.
Can you cook? If so, what's your favorite dish to cook?
I can cook. I like to cook chicken. My favorite dish is probably steak.
What kind of car do you drive?
760.
What was the first car you ever owned?
A Chevy Impala SS.
Who's your favorite musical artist, Sean Taylor?
Lil Wayne.
What's the best thing about being a Redskin?
I don't know, going out with the guys every game and just, wearing that Redskin uniform.
60 seconds with Sean Taylor.
Flat, I kind of knew the next route would be a 7 route, and once he gave me that look, I just went ahead and attacked the ball and made a play on it.
This was the #1 passing offense coming in. Obviously, you have the veteran and Kurt Warner, but you have 2 tough young receivers in Bolden and Fitzgerald. What was it like trying to stop them? Because they haven't been stopped, regardless of the fact that they don't have a good running game.
Well, those 2 guys are real good, two real good receivers, and they're going to be good for Arizona for the longest amount of time. And, it was tough kind of trying to stop them and the other receivers they have that complement their passing game. And, we just put a couple guys on them, put our clamps on them, and, they came away with some nice catches, but for the most of it, we contained them, no big runs, and that's all we can ask for.
You're credited with 1 forced fumble, although I think you might have had 2 there. You were in on that Lamar Marshall fumble with J.J. Arrington. You guys were able to really make some things happen. First half, 7 turnovers total, 4 by you guys, and not many points to show for it.
Well, sometimes that's the way the ball falls, and, I'm happy that we are getting turnovers and we are making plays in that era, but, we got to just capitalize, and, we're learning from our mistakes. We didn't capitalize and we gave the ball right back to them in our territory, and we just got to not do that and not, kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, and we'll be all right.
In addition
say number one, just dog, I'm about to say ST.
Sean Taylor?
No doubt about it.
But they all say Sean, all the Miami dudes
Sean was
say that.
different. Like, you gotta understand, like, this is someone that I played with from the age of 6. And the same thing that he possessed at UM, he possessed at 6 years old. You know, Oklahoma drill, you lay on your back, turn around.
Yeah.
Woo. I can't tell you how I finished at 6 years old.
Yeah.
He just had that hip, that natural pop, bam. You don't coach that, you don't teach that.
Right.
He's always had it. But, you know, the thing that I don't think Sean get enough credit for is his intellect of game. You know, he was athletic. You know, Sean in high school, punt return, kick return, running back, quarter, it didn't matter, man. He was running all over those kids, but he knew the game.
Right.
Like, he could find the ball, run this way, speed turn, go get it all the way across the field. Like, he was different. Like, I've never seen that breed, you know? And then at the same time, he got too scared to run across that middle.
Right.
Because he, like, man, listen, he coming with it.
Sean Taylor. Phil, you talked in the first half. Remember Reggie Wayne got out of Sean Taylor. Ryan Mormon going back out onto the field, and that is why. Congratulated Sean Taylor.
I don't know if it was a fake. It might be he just decided to run with it, but Sean Taylor came.
Little baby.
Yeah, she will.
Here we go. Come on, and I.
Rising star in the NFL is dead, cut down by gunfire less than a day after someone shot him in his own home. Washington Redskins player Sean Taylor died from his injuries early this morning. Eyewitness News reporter Karen Brown has the developing details.
A family is mourning a son and a football team, one of its up-and-coming defensive players. Washington Redskins safety Sean Taylor died this morning at a Miami hospital after being shot in his Florida home. The 24-year-old was airlifted to the hospital early Monday. According to a family friend, Taylor's girlfriend called 911 after someone broke through the couple's bedroom door and fired 2 shots. One bullet hit Taylor in the upper leg, damaging an artery and causing the massive blood loss that took his life. Police are investigating the attack and whether it is related to a reported intruder at the house 8 days earlier. In 2004, Taylor, a former All-American at the University of Miami, was a first-round draft pick for the Redskins. Taylor missed the last 2 games because of a sprained knee, but he had a reputation as one of the hardest hitters in the league. That landed him a spot in the 2006 Pro Bowl, the NFL's All-Star game.
He was a good hitter and everything else, you know, but now, you know, he's gone.
He was just shining. He just started to shine.
Taylor had some trouble with both the league and the law. He paid thousands of dollars in fines to the NFL and spent a year in court battling assault charges. But teammates say they noticed a real turnaround following the birth of his daughter last year. Now family, friends, and fans are left to remember Taylor as a huge talent who loved the game.
Funeral arrangements have not yet been released.
Rosh, are investigators without question making a connection between the break-in 8 days ago and this shooting?
Well, they're looking into forced entry here. They do say there was forced entry into Sean Taylor's home, and they are wondering at this point whether that forced entry was a result of the November 17th break-in or the incident that occurred here on Monday morning. But we're also getting new information from police. A critical moment here. After the intruder comes into the room and shoots, we know that Sean Taylor's girlfriend picked up the phone, but the phone line was dead, and there is speculation from Taylor's attorney that those phone lines were actually cut.
But the phone line was dead, and there is speculation from Taylor's attorney that those phone lines were actually cut.
Police have 4 suspects in custody with the connection of Sean Taylor's death earlier this week. Police also say they have the shooter in custody, although they have not released which of the 4 suspects they believe did it. They say they have at least 2 confessions, and a source has told me it could be as many as 3 confessions already. Police said that Taylor's house was targeted because he spends so little time at his Miami residence during the football season.
We know that these individuals on the night of occurrence entered the residence. We know that once that they were in the residence, they encountered Mr. Taylor. We know that Mr. Taylor was mortally wounded by a single gunshot. We know that these individuals then exited the residence and fled in a waiting vehicle. Our investigation also revealed that these individuals were under the assumption that the residence was vacant and that Mr. Taylor or no one else was in the residence. In other words, that they were under the assumption that it was unoccupied. Let me make this clear. They were certainly not looking to go there and kill anyone. They were expecting a residence that was not occupied. So murder or shooting someone was not their initial motive.
One interesting point to note, Metro-Dade Police Director Robert Parker said this investigation is not over and more arrests could be forthcoming. I spoke with Pedro Taylor, Sean's father, after the arrests were announced, and he asked for more time to spend with his family.
Redskins owner Daniel Snyder released a statement following the arrest, and I quote, "This is another step, but not a conclusion, in a very personal and painful tragedy. The police have done a wonderful and professional job in quickly making arrests. I thank them for keeping us informed and involved from the very beginning." He goes on to say, and I continue to quote, "We will never forget the courage his family, especially Jackie, Pete, and Donna, have shown. Their composure has been a source of strength for us all." Close quote.
So critical moments were lost here. Finally, fire rescue gets here. They transport Taylor to the Ryder Trauma Center here in Miami, and then it was an emotional roller coaster. Late last night, Pedro Taylor, who happens to be a police chief in Florida City, came out and said, "You know what? My son is responding to doctors." Everybody here was so hopeful, but as day breaks, hope turns into despair.
Raj, Sean Taylor's dead, of course. Does anybody know why he was targeted?
Well, the fact that he was targeted isn't being confirmed by Miami-Dade police. In fact, John, at this point, they are not releasing a whole lot of information. We do know that in June 2005, he did have a run-in with the law. He was accused of pointing a gun at several individuals. He later pled that out to a misdemeanor. But at this point, Miami-Dade police are making absolutely no connection between any prior incident, even the burglary, and this case. In fact, if they do have a good lead, they don't want to deter anyone from coming forward. You have to realize here, though, why this is hitting Miami so hard. Sean Taylor was truly a hometown hero. In fact, there's a story. There's a school right up the street here, his high school, a school that had not been to the state championship in years. Sean Taylor, it was told, almost single-handedly brought that school to a state championship, a hero at the University of Miami, a hero in the NFL, 24 years old, and now gone. After he was shot outside the Ryder Trauma Center in Miami, gave a very hopeful news conference saying that Sean was responding to doctors, but as nighttime would turn into daytime, that hope would fade and it would turn into sadness as the news would come out that Sean Taylor has passed away. Now we really have the criminal investigation. Detectives from Miami-Dade Police, they have been out here all morning long going into Sean Taylor's home here in Palmetto Bay. They are looking for any bit of evidence, any clue. Here are the details as we know them. We know that Sean Taylor was sleeping in his bedroom with his girlfriend, his one-year-old daughter. According to police, an intruder burst through the bedroom door. 2 shots were fired. Taylor was hit, rushed to the Ryder Trauma Center, where he later died. This morning, though, police are not releasing any suspect information, and we spoke to them this morning, and what they said was basically this: hey, it's difficult right now because the girlfriend was actually hiding underneath the covers when she heard the loud noises, so she may not have seen who the suspect was. We do know, and we have confirmed this with Sean Taylor's attorney, that when she went to call 911, the phone was dead. Perhaps the phone lines were cut, so she actually had to get in contact with 911, with Miami-Dade police, through her cell phone, and precious moments were lost, but there was a massive effort to save Sean Taylor's life. He was somebody who grew up here in the community in Miami, went to preparatory school not far from here, was a star at the University of Miami, was a star with the Washington Redskins. And now the big question in Miami this afternoon is who would want to kill Sean Taylor?
Tells me Sean Taylor is their favorite player ever.
Sean Taylor probably had the most talent I've ever seen a kid come out of high school.
You know, you got guys saying, I used to try to stand like him.
Going against Sean Taylor, that's who I had to practice against. He brought out the best of me. He told me, you know, he could tell which way I was running, breaking out. Sean Taylor made me the player I am today. I'm not going to lie to you.
Redskins Pro Bowl safety Sean Taylor is in intensive care in Miami after being shot at his home last night.
One of the guys texted me, hey, Sean got shot, but I think he's going to be all right. And never really... I don't think the idea to anybody getting the information early was that he was ever going to die. And, you know, and then when the news broke, it was funny. Like, immediately it was just, it wasn't Sean Taylor, a father and at home with his family, was shot by a home invader who thought he was gone. It was, you know, another Miami football player, you know, caught in a shooting.
I wasn't surprised because Sean Taylor's been involved in a pattern of things going back to his days at the University of Miami, including a 2005 admission to assault and battery, misdemeanor assault and battery. So I wasn't even surprised, Tony, and that may be the most disturbing thing.
I was not
other than his
either,
condition.
Because I do know his past, that he had been arrested more than once and once on a weapons charge.
Someone lose their life and then you want to blame it on being a thug when you don't know the person.
They automatically assumed that he was a thug, he was a bad person, that he had, you know, the tragic thing that happened to him, it was his fault, which was completely wrong.
No one knew what the happened. Everyone just assumed, oh, Sean Taylor, University of Miami, oh, definitely gang-related, something, drugs, whatever it is.
Sean Taylor has a history of really, really bad judgment. Cops, assault, spitting, DUI. But Colony cleaned up his act. Just because you clean the rug doesn't mean you get everything out. Sometimes you got stains. Stuff so deep, it never, ever leaves.
One, you don't even know the guy. The guy was a great kid. Sean Taylor was a great kid, extremely competitive, one of the best safeties we had, one of the best players we had all time. You don't know anything about him, and you automatically jump to conclusions.
We knew who Sean was. We knew what type of player he was. We knew what type of person he was because we was around him each and every day. So to go out like he did, and then to have the media try to tarnish his name like that, it just wasn't right.
Suspects in the Sean Taylor case appeared for a court hearing Friday. Since their arrest, all have pleaded not guilty to murder and armed burglary charges. During the hearing, Judge Dennis Murphy said too much investigative material was finding its way into the news media. He said he's thinking about issuing a gag order to make sure the defendants get a fair trial.
Hopefully we won't have to get to that point. Hopefully my point was made to counsel today.
After the hearing, attorney Michael Horning said he's talking to prosecutors about a plea agreement that might involve testifying against the other defendants.
My client from the very, very beginning has maintained and has been consistent with wanting to be honest and accept responsibility for what he was involved in.
Despite the judge's admonition, Horning also discussed his client's statements to police, including that one of the defendants said Taylor kept $200,000 in a black bag in one of the bedrooms, that one of the defendants said he had stolen $5,000 from Taylor's home before, that Eric Rivera and Jason Mitchell entered the house and later came running out after a shot was fired, that they later burned their clothes and masks, and finally, that a handgun used in the killing was placed in a sock and thrown into the Everglades. The gun has never been found. Following the hearing, Eric Rivera's father offered condolences to the Taylor family.
We're still in real bad shape about the whole thing. We put everything in God's hands and hope for the best out of this real sad situation.
At least two of the defendants have confessed to taking part in the attempted burglary, and a grand jury has identified Rivera as the one who shot Taylor. The defendants are likely to be back in court for another hearing in January, and the trial could begin as early as April.
Mike, trial of the accused killer of NFL star Sean Taylor, who was shot and killed during a burglary of his home 6 years ago. The key to the case, the defendant's videotaped confession, which was played for the jury. Now the defense must persuade the jury not to believe what they heard. ABC's Gio Benitez tracking this trial for us. Good morning, Gio.
Good morning to you, Robin. For the first time since Taylor's killing 6 years ago, we're getting a look at that controversial videotape played for the jury Thursday. And listen closely, because this tape could affect the whole case. This morning, video of Eric Rivera's apparent confession after police say he shot Washington Redskins safety Sean Taylor in 2007 in the NFL star's own Miami home. On the right, you see Rivera, then 17, speaking with a detective.
How many times did you shoot him? Do you know where you shot him? And how quickly did he go down?
Police say Rivera shot 24-year-old Taylor in the upper thigh, which severed his femoral artery. Taylor died after bleeding to death. Investigators believe it all started as a botched burglary, that Rivera and 4 others wanted to steal cash and thought Taylor's home was empty.
And what were you guys planning to go about that about for? Just go in and get the money and leave. You guys were planning on burglarizing the house that we were going to do?
Rivera's attorney says this confession was coerced. Prosecutors point to this diagram they say Rivera drew, showing where he was at the time of the shooting. Monday in court, Rivera's father taking the stand, saying he wasn't there when the video was taped, telling jurors he was searching for his son at local police stations. Prosecutors say Rivera came to the police station willingly and refused to call his parents.
I went to see how he was doing and was he okay? Yeah, he's my son. He was a kid at that point. Any parent is concerned about their son.
Rivera has pleaded not guilty and could face life in prison if convicted. Closing arguments may begin as early as tomorrow, and the 12-person jury will likely begin deliberations later this week. One of Rivera's co-defendants has pleaded guilty. 3 others, Robin, are awaiting trial.
All right, Gio, thank you. We're going to turn it to ABC's chief legal anchor, Dan Abrams, now. And Dan, in looking at the tape, the confession tape, is there anything that you saw, the conduct of the police, anything that the defense can use and say it was coercion?
I think actually the best thing the defense has going for it is how hard the tape is to hear. I mean, it is a really tough tape to understand and to hear. That's not a good sign for the defense, and I'm saying that's the best thing that they have going for them. Look, they're bringing in the father to basically say, this was a kid. I couldn't find him. I was looking all over for him. Effectively, it sounds like the father's saying the police sort of take him off, pull him in, question him. The problem is that you still do have what he said on that tape. It is very hard after a judge has admitted a confession like this for the defense to be in the position of effectively catch-up, where they're saying, yes, I know you hear that on the tape, but it was all coerced. Did the police play some games with him? Sure. The way police do all the time. Did they have one of his co-defendants walk past him so he could see him there and get nervous? Absolutely. But I think that when it comes to saying that this tape is so untrustworthy, the defense hasn't presented anything.
There's some trouble there, but it's not just the tape. There were diagrams that he drew of the house and where people were.
It's a very specific confession. Now, the defense would say some of the co-defendants had been to the house before, so they knew the house, but that doesn't prove anything. The problem is it's all of it taken together.
Involved in the deadly shooting of Washington Redskins star Sean Taylor. He's going to spend 30 years behind bars. 25-year-old Charles Wardlow was sentenced today after accepting a plea deal. Wardlow is the 4th man to be convicted in Taylor's death. A 5th, who is Wardlow's cousin, is still awaiting trial. The man identified as the shooter, Eric Rivera Jr., was sentenced to 60 years in prison back in 2013. The group of 5 men from Fort Myers is accused of breaking into Taylor's home back in 2007. They believed he was out of town. Taylor was home nursing an injury and confronted them with a machete. He was fatally shot in the leg. Taylor would have turned 32 years old today.
Verdict. We, the jury in Miami-Dade County, Florida, this 4th day of November, 2013, find the defendant, Eric Rivera Jr., guilty of second-degree murder as a lesser-included offense. The defendant was not in the possession of a firearm during the commission of the second-degree murder. Count 2. Guilty of burglary of a dwelling with an assault or battery while armed. The defendant committed an assault or battery during the commission of the burglary. There was a human being in the structure. So say we all, 4-person.
Myers Florida's man found guilty of killing Washington Redskins star Sean Taylor sentenced today. A judge sentencing Eric Rivera Jr. to 57.5 years in prison for the 2007 slaying of Taylor in his Miami home. State prosecutors asking the judge for a 60-year sentence. Another man connected to the killing already accepting a 29-year sentence and a plea deal. Rivera will be 65 or 66 years old by the time he's eligible for early release. 3 others are awaiting trial in the case.
Redskins Park in Virginia to the streets of Washington. On their home turf, Washington Redskins fans remember Pro Bowl safety Sean Taylor.
He's in a better place now, and God bless him, God bless the team.
I think he's probably going to make the Pro Bowl this year, probably and every year after that, so it's devastating.
The news came early in the morning of this player's death in Florida. By lunchtime, everyone knew.
My heart just stopped. You know, my sympathy go out to him and his family.
I was actually kind of mind-boggled. It was an awkward feeling. That's a young man, a young athlete, someone that was just playing a few weeks ago at the top of his game.
They knew at the ESPN zone, where sports is always the talk.
Well, it's definitely a mental blow as far as the team is concerned. Sean was a leader.
And they knew on the sidewalk just outside.
It was very painful. I was like, oh my gosh, not Sean Taylor.
What's hitting these Redskins fans hard is the potential Sean Taylor had. The potential for NFL greatness. Taylor was a player on the upswing after some rough patches. He had a girlfriend and a 1-year-old daughter. And he was just 24.
I think Sean Taylor was a potential Hall of Fame player.
I need to be here to show my respect for Sean and to be here for his family.
Now, fans of Sean Taylor are left to mourn number 21. 3 of 4 suspects accused in the slaying of Washington Redskins safety Sean Taylor were back in court Friday, but the judge has postponed the trial for all 3, plus alleged triggerman Eric Rivera until August. Prosecutors and defense attorneys said they weren't prepared for trial to start April 7th as originally planned. The judge has rescheduled the case for August 25th. Taylor, an all-pro safety for the Redskins, was shot during a botched robbery at his South Florida home in late November. He died in the hospital the next day.
NFL star Sean Taylor was back in court today asking a judge to reduce his sentence. Eric Rivera was 17 when he shot Taylor in his Palmetto Bay home 11 years ago. He was sentenced to 57 years for a second-degree murder conviction. At a new sentencing hearing today, Rivera called the crime a mistake and an accident and told the judge he deserves a second chance. Rivera shot Taylor when the Washington Redskins star rushed him with a machete he kept in his room for protection. Taylor's girlfriend and young daughter were also home at the time. The judge denied Rivera's request, upholding his sentence. Trial beginning in Miami for a second Fort Myers man accused of taking part in a botched 2007 burglary that ended with the fatal shooting of Washington Redskins star Sean Taylor. 25-year-old Jason Mitchell is one of 5 men from Fort Myers charged with murder in this case. The alleged shooter, Eric Rivera Jr., was convicted last fall and sentenced to 57 years behind bars. 2 other men are awaiting trial. Another has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and burglary.
Today we gather to honor and celebrate the legacy of Washington legend Sean Taylor.
Honor is not conferred just on somebody's time or tenure in something. It's on their impact. For a whole generation of Washington football, no one had more impact than Sean Taylor. He was a football player's football player. But it was the man he was to his family that cemented his legacy.
He meant the world to me. His mindset, same bloodline, same DNA is still in me.
Intercepted! Gabe Taylor! A touchdown!
Gabe Taylor, the younger brother of the late, great Sean Taylor. People are watching me, so I can't let them down.
For 21-year-old Gabriel Taylor, November 27th means many things. It's a day to mourn. It's a day to remember. And it's a day to honor his older brother.
it's a story.
I'm Sean Taylor, University of Miami, the hardest hitter in the draft.
There's a reason why the Redskins took Sean Taylor 5th overall in the 2004 NFL Draft. I mean, he was known for his hits. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years since his death. The Redskins safety was shot and killed at the age of 24 during a burglary attempt of his suburban Miami home. So many NFL athletes idolized Sean Taylor then, and they still do now.
He's going to be remembered the rest of his life and immortalized in a way that, and the Super Bowls, of course. But when you think about that, a guy who actually played here, and he's immortalized.
A guy who would take the shirt off his back and give it to you. You know, me and him joked about me. Started taking the jersey off like, oh man, you can take this 21. I ain't worried about no jersey number. I just want you to play with me.
Now, we'll never know how good Sean Taylor would have been on and off the field, and I believe he could have been one of the greatest to play the game. I remember my first time seeing Sean Taylor. He was at college in Miami, and he turned a Florida State receiver into a gymnast doing a back somersault. Taylor, he had such a rare skill set, speed, instincts, unchained physicality. I mean, he was a freak of nature. Taylor only played 4 seasons in the NFL, but he was a 2-time Pro Bowler. He piled up almost 300 tackles and 12 interceptions. If you don't know football, those are freakish numbers. Not one Redskins safety has been selected to the Pro Bowl since 2008, the first full season after Taylor's death. He was the kind of guy you wanted on your team. He didn't start fights. He ended them. By the age of 24, he was an idol. Sean Taylor would have been 34 years old today. They say that time heals all wounds, and that is true in many respects. However, the thought of what could have been still runs through the minds of Redskins fans. His daughter, now 11 years old, won't have her daddy to see her off to walk her to the prom or walk her down the aisle during wedding day. 10 years ago today, football lost something losing Sean Taylor. The world lost something. We can still watch his videos and understand who he was as a player. The sad part is we never got the chance to see Sean Taylor grow as a man.